Hola, my name is Danijela, and in this video I want to show you how I upgraded my Airbrush spray boot. Before and after the second use, I noticed some shortcomings which can be further improved to make it easier, more convenient and more effective to use. For those of you who don't know, in the previous video I made an Airbrush spray boot in which I covered how to make an enclosure out of rigid foam boards with a filter frame, install the filter, inside I put a basic fan and the cheapest LED lights, outside I glued on a universal reducer and put on exhaust hose on top of that. I also covered the different LEDs I can get in stores, the different kinds and ways of connecting the fan, and most importantly, why you should have an airbrush spray boot before you start airbrushing. I will leave a link to that video in the description below. So the first thing I have improved is LED light. I don't know if you noticed, but in some of the clips from the previous video you can clearly see these lights flickering. Do you see these lines? It depends on how much you dim. The brighter it is, the better it illuminates and eliminates flickering. As a content creator, I have to think about this because I don't want to have distracting clips, and then later when I'm editing, I will be banging my head that I took a bad shots. Even though I have tried all sorts of ways to fix it, but I couldn't save it. After some reading on forums, the camera settings are more likely to blame. Flickering in video is caused by a certain combination of frame rate and shutter speed under artificial lighting, and there are various paid techniques that can help you get rid of them successfully. But it can also be caused by poor lighting because it depends on the light source and how many amps go into the bulb. After some testing by replacing the LED strip with a good quality strip, I found that it is indeed the dimmer that is really at fault. For the reason of simplicity, without changing anything, I decided that these lights were poor quality, and so I spent quite a bit more on a better performing LED setup than the previous one. In this setup includes RGBW LED strips with good luminous intensity, operating at 12 volts and emitting white light with a color temperature of 6000 Kelvin, LED controller to remotely dim or change the colors of these lights, and to connect them to each other I need at least 5 watts power supply for a 50 cm long strip based on the calculation, and 5-wire conductor. Maybe this 24 watts power supply adapter is overkill, but I reused the same adapter from the previous light. The reason I stumbled upon these lights is that I had recently furnished my room and I had some left over, so I just invested in a controller to control it separately. All the lighting with these LEDs is worth the extra costs, as I intended to set the lights to mainly white, but for some fun also other colors whenever I want. And to make it all even more convenient, I've connected all the lights to this remote control. I really like the new corner for the spray boot. It has its own place. I don't need to move it around, clean my desk, and I have enough work surface around it. I don't mind airbrushing while I'm standing. The good thing about it is that the drawer is the right height to work on it, which was the initial plan from the beginning. I have also gained more storage space, which has filled up very quickly. Too quickly if you ask me, because now I have to be careful not to buy too much stuff. But I really like to play with new toys. Creepy. Now the fan. I have replaced my previous fan with this Noctua NF-A14 3000, which I already foresaw in the previous video, as I mentioned that this fan is much better than its little brother, as it has much more airflow, but it's louder and the price is the same. However, I connected it in a different way using the same black and yellow wire, by first connecting the black wire to the latching switch and then to this terminal block adapter. The yellow one I connected directly to the terminal block accordingly. From here on, it can be easily connected to the power supply with this AC to DC 12 volts 3 amperes power adapter with a plug that is the same size as the terminal block. The adapter must be more powerful than the previous one because the phone charger is not enough anymore, and this fan needs more power to operate normally without having power swings by looking at how much input current the fan needs. Now with this switch I don't need to plug in and unplug every time I use it, so it's all more handy and there is no mess at the back because everything is now fixed in place. Do you want to know what I did with the previous fan? I modified it to ventilate the toxic fumes away from me while I'm soldering, which is what I really need at some occasions. And I did it by connecting the black wire directly to the switch, which I then connected together with the yellow wire correspondingly to the step-up voltage regulator and to the micro USB module. There is also an activated carbon filter mounted on the back to absorb the solder fumes and remove most particles from the air. So this upgrade is not necessary, it's just to make my job better and easier. Of course, it did cost me a bit extra, but that's only because I learned the most along the way and I have no problem spending money on my hobby. I estimate that the whole build would have cost me about 170 euros if I had made it from scratch, but at least it's as good as it can be. Perhaps in the future I would add some kind of removable plastic foil to cover the front so that dust doesn't accumulate on the freshly sprayed product. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching, and in the next video will be one of my best creations I have ever made. Bye!